Hello and welcome to episode 78 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. And joining me once again is League Freak, who you can find on Twitter at League Freak. How you going there, mate?
Pretty good, just living life, you know.
Pretty chill?
Just chilling, living the life, you know.
Where
That's
did you
all I got.
Where did you take the hammer today?
Nowhere.
You just chilled at home, deprived the public of the Thor hammer.
It just kept my hammer by my side and just waited. Just watched and waited.
Looking for the right opportunity. You don't want to overdo it, I guess, with a Thor hammer.
Nah, you don't want to be swinging your hammer all over the place, letting everyone know that, you're the king of Asgard. You just keep it on the DL.
As you do. If just in case no one's aware, the finals start this weekend.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, we've got 4 great games to kick off the finals, and we've already got one sellout, which will be fantastic. So it's just going to be a great round of footy.
Certainly is. So let's get underway. Okay. Friday night, traditional rivals. Roosters take on the Bunnies at the old girl, the SCG.
Yeah, second place Roosters versus third place Rabbitohs. Kicks off at 7:50 p.m. So expect kickoff around 8:15. This is
9.
it. Oh, yeah. This is a really interesting game because they played last week. The Rabbitohs beat the Roosters, but the Roosters had a couple of players out. And this time around, the Rabbitohs will be missing Sam Burgess because he decided to become a hairdresser halfway through last week's match. So I tend to think, they're getting a few back, the Rabbitohs. They're getting James Roberts back. They're getting Thomas Burgess back, which will be good for them. They're getting George Burgess back. So he'll probably find a way to get suspended again, even knowing how the Burgesses are going.
Adam Reynolds will also be back.
Yep.
Dane Gagai, though, has been ruled out with his dodgy hamstring.
Yep. And Brett Morris and Luke Keary back into the Roosters side. I think that their additions are way bigger than the Rabbitohs ones, and I just tend to think that when a lot of these instances where you play back-to-back games, the roles tend to reverse in the second game. And I think that that's what will happen in this one. I think that the Roosters will win it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going with the Roosters in this one. I can see there being maybe 1 or 2 call-ups out of the extended bench as well for the Roosters in this one.
Yeah.
Because they've got Keary, Orbison, Brett Morris, and Toka Aho are all on that extended bench.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they all make it into the 17. Excuse me. The weird thing for the Bunny side for me is they've got a few fullbacks on that side, yet none of them are playing a fullback.
It is a little bit strange. I feel as though the Rabbitohs are making do. I think that they have given everyone a go at fullback, and they're not happy with any of them. And so I feel as though I wouldn't be shocked if they had a new fullback next year. I don't know who, but I feel as though the club just is not happy with the fullbacks they've been able to bring to the club. The only thing I think that we definitely will not see is Ryan Hall coming to the side. I think if they brought Ryan Hall in, I think if they brought him in, the Rabbitohs would exploit him to hell. So. But yeah, that addition of Luke Keary is going to be key for the Roosters. So, they're in a pretty good place, I think, to start the final series.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if South make a play for Matt Duffy for next year.
Yeah.
All reports are he's on the outer. He's a handy fullback. And he wouldn't cost the world either.
No, he wouldn't. I think they'd get him for cheap. He'd add a lot of attack to their back line. He's not the sort of playmaker you want at fullback, but at the very least, I think he's a better ball runner than any of the other guys they've got, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and look, if Souths want to spend some of that coin that they freed up with the English retiring, then there's $1 million fullback over at the West Tigers they can have.
Well, I feel like they might just pass on him.
Yeah, everyone bloody will.
Oh man, I think that a lot of that money would be soaked up by James Roberts when they brought James Roberts in after Inglis retired. But we'll see what happens. I'm just not impressed with their back line at all at Souths, and I tend to feel like the club isn't either, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, I feel as though Souths, I think the roles will be reversed this week, and yeah, it's this weird thing, right? And I've heard it in the media. A lot of the media is going like, oh, the Roosters at the SFS, they've made it a fortress. I feel like it's more just a product of the Roosters being good rather than them having some sort of hoodoo at the SCG. Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's what it is. The thing that's going to stand out for me in this match, I'm just having a look at some of the matchups on here.
Yeah.
Daniel Tupou and Latrell Mitchell are going to be up against Campbell Graham and Corey Allen. Now, for me, that's a big mismatch.
Definitely. Most definitely. And Mitchell, if Mitchell's on, like Tupou's been really good this season. I think he's been under the radar good for the most part. But when Latrell Mitchell's playing well, and Tupou has obviously played well all season, they're ridiculous over on that side of the field. To the point where I think Tupou has gone back to playing for Tonga, but man, if they wouldn't be out of place as the Australian, centre wing combination. That's how good they're playing. I thought Absolutely. That Tupou might have been on the radar for New South Wales actually this year, but he got injured just at the wrong time.
Yeah, look, I named him in the New South Wales side for game one, but yeah, that injury did put a kibosh on that.
Yeah.
On the other side of the back line, you got defensively strong and still quick Joseph Manu and Brett Morris up against Alex Johnson and James Roberts, and I think they negate that other side. I think they sort of cancel each other out. So, I can't see much joy for South when they spread it wide.
No.
And I can see them being carved up when Mitchell gets the ball because Tedesco will be out on that side as well.
Yeah, and the thing about Manu too is he's one of those players, and he's been one of the form players in comp the last couple of months. But he's one of those guys that if you put a challenge in front of him, like you put a big name player in front of him, he loves going head to head with them. And I wouldn't be shocked if he just put it on Roberts in this game.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Cody Walker turns up this week. He's been named as a captain in this one, and he has been terrible since Origin. I think he's probably played 2 okay games since Origin. And he really needs to step up. They need him desperately. And the other thing, it's kind of weird that Adam Reynolds has no injuries going into the finals. It's scary.
Wow. There's still a few days left.
Yeah, he can still pull a hammy at some point, I guess, eh?
Exactly. Poor bugger. All right, we'll move on to the next game, which is the Storm versus the Raiders. Now, no Ricky Stewart coach side has had back-to-back wins over Craig Bellamy coach side since the very first 2 games of Ricky Stewart's coaching career.
Oh, wow.
Back in 2003-04.
Wow.
And on that occasion, both the wins were down here in Melbourne, and the first game saw the Raiders come from behind to win. Saw his side come from behind to win. That was the Roosters then.
Okay.
So that match is in harmony, but he's got to somehow get this side up again down here in Melbourne and win this game down here.
And the Raiders are coming off a loss to the Warriors, which I feel like, they rested a few players and the Warriors, it was a bit of a nothing game. A lot of nothing games in that last round. First versus fourth, it kicks off at 5:40 p.m. down there at Amy Park in Melbourne. Both teams are bringing a lot of players back. It's interesting to see Sam Williams has come into the extended squad. I tend to feel like the Storm are going to win this one, though. I've said it all year. I have zero faith in the Raiders when it comes finals time. I expect Jared Crocker to miss vital goals and ones that are very kickable. And I just think that the Storm, they'll be ready for this. They didn't have a great last round, and I think they could put on a score here, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, both sides rested a lot of people in the last week too. I mean, Melbourne went winning that last game without Brandon Smith, Cameron Munster, Curtis Scott, Josh Adokar, and two other bench players there. So they'd rested a few key players. The Raiders were without Nickel Clockstead, Soliola, Bateman, Rapana, Lailua, Tapani, and Williams.
Yeah, and I watched Williams play a game a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. Can't remember if he played last week. Damn, my memory's bad sometimes. But I watched him play in the Canterbury Cup. He didn't really stand out too much, unfortunately. He's one of those players that Canterbury Cup's really his sort of level. But yeah, I just feel as though down there in Melbourne, this is their time of year. They know that they've won the Mining Premiership. They've been fantastic all season, and it's time to turn it on now.
Yeah, exactly. I see Melbourne winning this one, and probably by at least double digits.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel as though this, for all of the good things that have happened to Canberra this year and that they've earned, I feel as though this will be a bit of a welcome to the finals moment for them.
Yeah. Now the next game. Manly versus the Sharks at Asbestos Land.
Yes, this will be fantastic for everybody that has a respirator anyway. Seagulls come 6th this year, the Sharks come 7th. This one kicks off at 7:50 p.m. at Lotto Land. Not Brookvale Oval, it's Lotto Land.
This is the first time this year that the Sharks go into a game without one single player injured.
Oh, really?
Yes. They've got one player out because of suspension, and that's Ronaldo Mulatalo.
Yep.
But that's it. Everyone else is fit and ready to play.
Yeah, just looking through their side now. Yeah, it's a good side. I feel as though the Sharks are going to romp this one home, hey?
Yes, on the proviso.
Yeah.
That one, Matt Moylan doesn't play.
Yeah, I feel as though there's always going to be some sort of excuse to not play him. And I think if they play him, it'll be like they need someone on the wing and he's sort of the last man standing. I don't think they'll play him at fullback again.
I don't even rate him as one of the top two fullbacks at the club. I think after what we saw a couple of weeks ago, Josh Morris filled in for Josh Dugan.
Yep.
And man, he looked right at home at fullback.
Yeah, he's one of those and it's the same with his brother, just super professional players that, if you're calling them to do something, they'll do it to their best ability, and it's, even at their worst, it's normally good enough. Like, you don't ever think, oh man, he had a terrible game. Like, have you ever seen the Morrises have a really bad game? I don't think I've never seen that, yeah.
Always been rock solid. And this is the thing is, the one thing that works with this Sharks team, given they're so big on making meters through the middle, is having a fullback who runs the ball back hard.
Yeah.
Think of all the times they were successful, they had a ball-running fullback and a good one. And Ben Barber was always running back hard. Valentine Holmes was insane.
Yeah.
Tiny little body. He'd just throw himself into the defensive line. He didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had Moylan, who saunters across the field and just calmly handballs a two winger, gets them to do the job instead. And it takes the momentum out when you get a fullback who just saunters around looking for someone else to run the ball. Because it just gets the defence so much closer. You're then having to work the ball even further out of your line with no momentum and no go forward. So doesn't seem like much, but it just means that your forwards have to run an extra 10 metres back to get on side so they can do a hit up. It's all taxing.
Yeah, and it just takes the impetus out of the attack.
Exactly. And so Dugan has been a revelation probably the last month, to be honest, when he's been moved to fullback.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to keep him there as much as they can. And if he gets injured, which is possible, then Josh Morris has to take over, not Moylan. I don't know what they do with Moylan other than cut him.
Well, I mean, there was the rumour a couple of weeks ago that he was going to end up at Penrith. I really, really hope that that's not the case because I mean, personally for me, he burnt his bridges when he decided to just not play in a finals game a few years ago. And he was out there warming up on the field. Like, he wasn't warming up, but he was throwing a football around with the ball boys and stuff while his teammates were out there warming up for the game. I found that absolutely disgusting. I think that Matt Moylan, send him to bloody Super League, stuff it, make him play for Huddersfield or something, I would.
Yeah, I don't see how he deserves the salary he's on.
No.
And how he can be considered one of the NRL elite playmakers. He does do some good stuff, there's no doubt about it. A lot of the English players would do the same thing over here, but that's where he's at.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, he's Blake Austin level.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say that he makes more mistakes than Austin.
Yeah, Austin at least runs the ball forward too.
Yeah, yeah.
Moylan is one of the most timid ball runners I've seen in a long time. As I said, since Tim Moulton.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he will run across to his winger and palm
him a hospital ball.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that the only reason we will see him play again this year for the Sharks is if it's like they've got no other choice, absolutely no other choice. And then I would guess that he would be on the wing because you just can't have him at fullback. He's not good enough. He's not an NRL fullback. The other thing about this game I'm really interested to see, and I kind of hope happens, I really would love to see Tony Williams in that Seagull side. I think it'd be the best thing ever. See this dude, he's like built like a brick shithouse. He should be dominating the game. And he's just going to trudge around and do not much of anything and probably make a stupid mistake and miss a really easy tackle just being lazy. I think that'd be fantastic to see that.
I'm going to say this. I can see it happening because Manly's named a debutant on the bench.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that kid gets dumped and Williams comes in to replace him. Des loves him for some reason. And look, to his credit, Des actually gets value out of him. Largely.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I'm not saying he's first grade quality, where he's clearly not. But if anyone's going to get him to work and perform for one or two games, then Des will.
Well, I would actually say that if anyone is going to get the best out of Tony Williams, right, it's obviously the groundwork that was put in last year by Trent Barrett.
It was remiss of me to not bring that up.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a given that everyone knew that. But,
right. I mean, the whole reason the Seagulls are here is because of Trent Barrett.
Yeah, so, I mean, he got them out of that horrible merger with Norse.
Yeah. He actually, you know what? One of the things underrated about when Trent Barrett was at the Seagulls, no one was talking about asbestos at all. And then Des Hasler turns up and all of a sudden there's asbestos. It's like, I don't think that's a coincidence. I mean, I'm not blaming Des Hasler. I'm not saying he put asbestos there. All I'm saying is Trent Barrett never had asbestos problems.
Do you think Trent may have buried some plastic chairs out there which may have had some hazardous material inside the chairs? Like sabotage.
Well, what do they make that? I mean, I guess it's like, what do they call that shit? I'm trying to think of what they call it. The molded plastic, injection molded plastic, I think it is, with the chairs. I don't know that they would build a chair out of asbestos, unless you didn't want it to burn, I guess.
Maybe Trent got them made out of it just to recycle a bit. Save a bit of cash. Future planning for his sabotage.
Who knows?
Or this will go on and bring the clubs to its knees and Trent will come running on going, I'll save the day, make me coach again, I'll fix everything.
I'm just really glad that they said, you know what, we found asbestos here, and then like 48 hours later they were like, oh no, it's all good, just trust us. Yeah. I wouldn't be trusting anyone.
It's not bad asbestos, it's the good asbestos. It's okay.
It's the good
This
stuff.
one's fine. We gave it the green tick. Yeah. Who were the independent people who came and did the test on that asbestos?
I'm sure they tested it good, but I just don't know how you don't, it's not something you just cover up. It's not something you just, I don't know, I don't know. I just, it's something you got to clean up.
Yeah,
It doesn't go away.
yeah. You got to treat that thing like Chernobyl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you
Like
can't just say, "Yeah, don't worry about it.
Down and everything.
The wind will blow it away. Don't worry about it. It's all right."
Yeah, very weird. I don't understand it. And look, that's probably why I don't deal with asbestos. The only way I know you deal with asbestos is that you handle it very carefully. You've got to cover the truck. You've got to keep everything wet. And then you just dump it outside of some, public school somewhere.
As you do. That's the norm.
Yeah, she'll be right.
You're in the desert somewhere. Next game. And the final game of the round. Parramatta versus the Broncos.
Yeah, the big sellout. Mitchell Moses. I mean, the game is sold all of their seats. Yeah.
Sorry, but this is the one game of the round.
Yeah.
I literally don't give a shit about.
Really? See, this is the one game of the round I'm maybe looking forward to the most.
I just think Parramatta's done nothing all year to excite me. Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm not saying that they've played crap. They've played good football. They deserve to be in the finals. 100%, absolutely. But I've not seen too much from them. It just makes me go, they're unstoppable. They're going to win the premiership.
Mm-hmm.
They've been like Manly. Just,
yeah.
They've won enough games. They haven't gone on this big winning run where they were just unbeatable for 6 or 7 weeks in a row. They're just there. They held their spot, and they're just there. And Brisbane, they are complete pretenders.
Oh, definitely, 100%. I think that the thing that excites me about this game, it's the Eels are in 5th, Broncos are in 8th. That kicks off at 4:05 p.m. on Sunday. Seeing 30,000 people at that stadium, it's the first sellout they've had there. That's going to be amazing.
That'll be that'll be great. There's no doubt about that.
The other thing is that to see how the young Broncos players play in front of that crowd is going to be really interesting. It sold out super, super quickly. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this one pans out. I think that the Eels should win pretty easily. I think that with that crowd that'll be at the game, that's going to lift them to a huge, huge extent. I am looking forward to this one, I got to say.
Are you looking forward to the huge battle in the halves between Moses and Boyd?
I really am. It's going to be like a case of who can really stamp their authority going across field. It's going to be brilliant. I think we'll see. Yeah, I think that what we'll see is New South Wales' Wally Lewis really step up in Gutherson. He'll probably make a lot of meters, probably 2 or 3 of them, and Sivo and Blake really need to step up there and take the team on their back, which have really, for the most part, done all season. I mean, Sivo's season this year has been absolutely outstanding.
Sivo's been brilliant. Sivo has been, and the thing is, he's got better as the years gone on. He's just Radraja Mark II.
Yeah, he really killed off Radraja's market value in the NRL.
Yeah, destroyed it.
Yeah, like at the very worst time, it's like Radraja's going around at 900,000, and he's Sivo. He's on like minimum contract, doing the exact same thing. It was a terrible timing.
Yeah. There's a few other good battles I want to see here. I want to know if David Fafita can break Sean Lane in half. It's just a train against a very, very long stick.
Yeah.
Just see how that one goes. And whether Kane Evans could do the same thing to Matt Lodge that he did last week to the who was it he hit last week? Clocked that poor kid.
I thought he got a suspension. I mean, like
he did actually. Yeah. Why is his name in this list?
Yeah. They were looking at. I mean, that must be a good proper suspension. Maybe the NRL list isn't updated.
No, it hasn't been updated. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's disappointing. I would have liked to seen Evans trying to clock Lodge.
Yeah, would have been good. I'm interested to see how the likes of Haas and Fafita handle finals footy. It's going to be, I'd love to see them stand up.
Oh,
I'd love to see them just be monsters. It would be so cool.
Fafita's in some bloody good form right now too. Like we thought he was in good form when he got picked for New South Wales, but he has gone another gear higher since then. His form
Well,
over the last few weeks has been brilliant.
yeah, he's like the thing about him, like they're talking about him, will he be getting close to $1 million contract? And he's a teenager and he's doing this. Imagine how good he'll be when he's just hitting his prime at 30 years old. Matthew Johns will be like, oh, yeah, now's the time.
He will be. One thing I think Brisbane should really be looking at is completely cutting Andrew McCulloch from the squad and starting with Seguiara and just letting him play 80 minutes.
I agree 100%. I think
Seguiara
McCulloch's done.
Seguiara has so much energy when he gets on the field, and McCulloch just looks like a very old, aging maths teacher.
He really does, eh? I
He's
don't
just
understand.
very brown.
Like, I guess the injuries and just the workload's caught up with him because, like, they're a different team with Seguiara on the field, and I guess when you play Segi for the whole game, you obviously cut down on his attack, but I mean, you're still getting more out of him than you do with McCulloch, which is a big thing.
If you've got Lodge, Haas, Fafita, Gillette, Offahengawi, you got those blokes in your side trying to, looking after you in defence a bit. That's going to help a fair whack.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, look, if I was the Broncos, I'd be looking to try and exploit this Eels pack, maybe move them around a little bit. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to win this game because they just, matchup for matchup, they've got some class in their side, but it's inconsistent. And then you've got Darius Boyd, who's a complete zero. He's played one good game in 18 months. I don't expect him to play.
He's a massive liability in the halves too for Parramatta, for Brisbane.
Yeah,
he's just a handbrake on everything.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to see them like get Seguiaro in there and just really work him around the middle of the field. Make these Parramatta forwards really get on their toes, have to move from side to side, and that I think that they've got a fair bit of mobility, even though they've got a lot of size, they've got a lot of mobility in this Broncos pack, and that's where I would look to exploit Parramatta.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with Evans, whether they move Brown to prop or whether they put Alvaro there. It'll be interesting.
Look, I would play Paulo. I would take Paulo out of the starting side. I'd have him off the bench. But they don't really have that luxury now, do they? Now that Evans is gone.
Well, they've got Mo Rowe and Terape on the bench. You can bring on as backup, sort of back row tackling sort of people.
Yeah.
So you could have. I tell you what, Alvaro and Brown could start in the front row, and have Paulo on the bench. Bring one of those other two up.
See, Moroa, I don't rate Moroa. Hey, I think he's a reserve grader. It's weird. His game has really fallen off over the last probably 2.5 years, I reckon. Their interchange bench and their reserves are a bit weird. I watched Hoffman play a game in reserves. Him and Will Smith were absolutely outstanding. I watched Will Smith score a try that was a man's try. He got the ball and was like, no one's stopping me, and just went for it. It was incredible. But there's not really a place for him in this side. And Hoffman, the only way he's going to play is if there's an injury to one of their wingers. Outside of that, he's not getting in the team. So, but yeah, that's our suspension to Kane Evans. I think that's a bigger blow than has been made out for this Eels team.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it cuts down all of their options for what they can do.
Both sides, though, are fielding fairly light forward benches, so
yeah,
don't be surprised if the second half of this game opens up a fair bit and you see a few points.
Yeah, you look at that Broncos bench; it's pretty average, eh?
Very. So I was going to see if there's any news. The Sharks are not overly confident that Matt Moylan will be able to return from a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I think that they're overly confident that they won't be picking him either way.
Yeah. Brad Parker must pass concussion protocols if he's going to play this week. Pasika and Sirenen are both gone for the season for Manly.
Serenen's loss is just massive for Manly.
Yeah.
Like, he was playing so well. It's a real shame.
Tony Williams has been included in the 21-man squad, and they requested the NRL for an exemption to have him play. I don't know if the NRL's given that exemption yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard if they've given it. But my guess is, I mean, they must have if they've still got him in the 21-man squad, because they put that request in, I think, on Monday. So for him to still be named in the squad, I'm guessing they got it.
Yeah, it must have done. I'm going for the Roosters in the first one, then the Storm, the Sharks, and the Eels.
Yeah, I'm going Roosters, Storm, Sharks, and yeah, it's hard to go past the Eels. The Eels. So that would mean basically next weekend. I mean, we'd see that this season would be over for the Sea Eagles and the Broncos, and those two teams would be taking on the Raiders and the Rabbitohs. And I don't know that you can say who is playing who. I think there's some way they work it out, because I went on the NRL website for the draw for the finals, and everything was TBA. So,
all right, I'll try and work it out for you here. So, loser of quarterfinal one. Okay, so the loser of Melbourne versus Canberra, will play against the winner of Manly versus Cronulla.
Okay, so for us, we would say it's going to be Raiders versus Sharks next week down in Canberra, I guess.
Yep.
And so the next week for us would be Rabbitohs versus Eels at ANZ Stadium.
Yes.
Could be a big crowd for that one, especially if the Eels romp home.
Yeah, so oh boy. Sharks have to deal with asbestos, and they're going to go and deal with the friggin' snow down in Canberra.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's getting warm yet. It doesn't really get warm in Canberra. But
no, it never does. As soon as the sun goes down, that place is -5.
Didn't you tell me last time the Sharks were down there that was their record absolutely horrific down in Canberra?
Have a quick look. I think you might be right. I think it is pretty average down there.
From memory, I think that's what you told me, because I was going to place bets based on whatever you had told me about it. I can't remember what it is now. It was one way or the other. It was either really impressive or horrific.
Just trying to find through the 15 million different files I've got on my computer.
It's all right. We're looking at games that haven't. We're doing fucking prep for games next week that haven't even been set.
We've already decided who's winning.
I tell you what, I'm at. Yeah, go on.
The Sharks lost their last game at Canberra.
Yep.
But won the 6 straight games before that.
Oh, there you go.
And they've won, 12 of the last 16 games in Canberra.
Yeah, so it was super impressive. Yeah. I think the failure thing was my part, because I'm pretty sure I put money on the Sharks and they lost. Yeah, and I was like, I'll just invoice Andrew for that money.
But they lost largely because of their goal kicking and nothing else.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they scored 4 tries to 3, but kicked 2 goals to 5 and lost by 2 points.
I tell you what, can you imagine if the Raiders win this week and next weekend is Storm versus Sharks?
Down here.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, not if you've got to live with someone who's a Sharks fan.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um,
um, the Sharks had done all right down here after they won the premiership.
yep.
They won their next two games after the grand final in 2016 down here in Melbourne.
Hmm.
They beat the Storm 11-2, then they beat them 17-14.
Hmm.
But they've lost their two games since then. And
Remember
they're
that
the only,
game?
I was going to say, they're the only two wins that the Sharks have had down here out of 11 visits.
Oh wow, that game earlier this year at Shark Park where it was a very very strange game. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
That was probably the weirdest game of the season, I reckon.
They have a knack for turning out games like that, these two.
Yeah, they really do. It's that's why it would make it so good. I guess if we saw the Eels versus Roosters, that would be at the SCG. That would not be as great. Or the Roosters versus Broncos. I mean, either of those matchups are a bit meh. But the Rabbitohs versus Eels would be good. Rabbitohs versus Broncos would be good too.
Yeah, that would be good. Because you get the whole week of everyone talking about the coaches clash.
Oh, that'd be great.
Which
Can you imagine Wayne Bennett mind fucking Seabowl for another week, not saying anything? Seabowl running around going, oh, it's just I'm not even thinking about Wayne Bennett. I'm not even talking about Wayne Bennett. Why are you always bringing up Wayne Bennett? And the media's just standing there scribbling notes and shoving microphones under his nose.
Anthony, no one said anything about Wayne Bennett. You just did. You said Wayne Bennett. Wayne Bennett. I heard you say Wayne Bennett. You just said Anthony, Wayne Bennett. I just heard you. You said Wayne Bennett. So, Anthony, just settle down, mate. I don't want to have a war. I want to be friends. I don't have a war with him. I don't want to. I've got nothing wrong with Wayne Bennett. I want to be friends. Let's be friends with Wayne Bennett. He's a good mate. He's a good bloke. Good bloke, Wayne Bennett. Let's be friends with Wayne Bennett. Friends.
Yeah, and then they say, "Hey, did you hear what the Rabbitohs assistant coach said about Anthony?" And Anthony goes, well, "That's why it's still a fucking assistant." And they're like, "No, he said you're a good bloke." And he's like, "Oh, it's not personal."
Yeah. No, he's a good bloke. He's got that weird gravelly voice too. Like every time I talk to him, he says like two or three words, and all of a sudden it sounds like he's got a throat full of snot trying to get out of his larynx.
Yeah. Yeah, he
sounds a bit. He said, "Oh, just clear your throat, son. Try again. Have another crack."
He sounds a bit like you the last couple of podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Except less coherent, that's for sure. It's like he goes on about trying to clean up all the problems Wayne Bennett, had when he was at there. It's like you've literally done nothing, Anthony. Like it's the same lineup. You've done nothing different. Just shut up. Just shut up, Anthony.
Yeah. If anything, he's created problems that didn't exist and then made them worse.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a team that needs a review.
Yeah. Jeez, Gus is going to be busy in the off season.
Yeah, he could, when he's finished up reviewing everything at the Dragons except their head coach, he could head up to the Broncos and just review everything but only their head coach. That'd be good. Put in place a 5-year plan.
Then he could go across to the Titans and review the person who reviewed them.
Yeah, that'd be great. He could review, what title does Mal Meninga have? Like, would it be the head of football operations or some bullshit like that?
Master of ceremonies.
He's like Mal Meninga, right? Is like the captain of the Titanic, and as the thing's breaking in half and sinking, he's looking around at everyone, going, "It's all right. It's still floating. Trust me, I've got this. We're going on the right path. We'll get there."
And, it snapped in half, but that's okay. It means we've got two boats now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're twice as good now.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to come in. I'm going to take over this ship. And when we get to where we want to get to, I know it's going to look like an absolute disaster, but just trust me. We're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. I got this.
Meanwhile, a couple of Sharks fans are bobbing in the ocean. Rose is sitting on top of a wooden plank. Jack's half in the water, freezing to death. Rose won't move over to pull him up on there. And then she just lets go of his corpse. I mean, that's what happened. She let go of his corpse.
Who would be the corpses at the Titans altogether? Or the Gold Coast fans, perhaps?
The corpse. Who would be the corpse at the Titans?
Have to be the fans.
Well, what if it was Callum Watkins? Because he kind of played pretty poorly, man.
That's spicy.
Yeah, yeah. That was a little bit bitchy, wasn't it?
That was a bit bitchy, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Callum. I hope you settle into Australia. You're living on the Gold Coast, brother. Like,
Yeah.
I tell you what you do, right? You put your feet up in the off season because all your teammates are, so don't worry about that. Do yourself a favour. Get someone to give you Corey Norman's phone number because he will show you a really good off season. All right, invite him up to the Goldie. Go out, hit the town. It's a nice place. You'll enjoy the sunshine, beautiful women. It's brilliant. Don't go swimming in the ocean though, because there's the rip currents out there, and the Gold Coast suck. Dude, do you know when I was up on the Gold Coast, right? I didn't put on sunscreen, okay, and my nose got badly burnt, but my shins got badly burnt. One day I was just sitting there, I didn't go swimming. I was just sitting there in the sun. And my nose settled down pretty quickly in a couple of days. But my shins were so badly burnt that they were friggin' itchy a month later. Like, it wasn't good. I feel like one day my legs will fall off.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. When's the sun ever hurt anyone?
Yeah, that's right. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We didn't put the ozone layer there. Someone else did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it only affects other people.
I agree.
Yeah, that's Aussie man logic for you.
Yeah. Well, what doesn't kill you can only make you stronger.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's been our review of the our look at the
Preview.
finals coming up this week. Yeah, preview.
Yeah. Well, we're such good experts at this stuff. I mean, it's basically a review of what we expect to happen, and I mean, lock it in. Like,
lock it in, nail it down.
Yeah, I'm not one to tell you to go and gamble, but spend all of the money that you've got on these teams because you will come out well ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. We may have just picked all the favourites as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, what would be best is to put money on all of these teams probably on Monday, a few days ago.
Yeah.
Back when the odds started to firm a bit, especially for the Sharks.
Yeah, so if you're like living in a different timeline, you will really be pretty happy about this podcast. It's really told you a lot about what's going to be happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much drops this one up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Got any shout outs we want to give out?
Obviously the starting block. Go on Twitter, look up the starting block, drop the K at the end, give them a follow. Big shout out to Nadine, to Richard Cradium, to Arabella, to Bartram13. Who else? Who else we got?
Well, there's our own Twitter account too, Fergo Freak Pod.
Yeah.
Get on there and follow that. Yeah, we've actually starting to get the same number of followers for the Twitter account as, I don't know, one of Mark Levy's burner accounts probably has.
Yeah, I wonder how many followers he has all up between all of the alleged burner accounts.
This is an interesting question because do you count follows from the other burner accounts? So if all 15 of the burner accounts all follow the other 15 burner accounts, do those 15 followers count, or do you have to cancel them out and delete them all?
That's a good question. I don't know. Did you see a few weeks ago some idiot? There's one of those idiot accounts where they just say horrible shit to other people. That wasn't really horrible shit was saying to me, but somebody said that I must have been buying my followers on Twitter because that's the only way I'd get that. It was fucking hilarious. Like the last thing on planet Earth I would ever spend money on is any shit on Twitter.
And let's be honest. you're not likely to go and make a rash purchase for the sake
No.
of it.
Well, no. I'll make well thought out purchases.
Or to get some sort of brief public approval or anything like that.
No.
There's nothing like that one going.
It was so funny though. Like,
did you smite him with your Thor hammer?
I did. He was smited. And it's funny. I put up a post that said if I'd paid for the followers I've got, I would ask for a refund.
Yes. We've heard your thoughts on your followers before. I would have thought that after you had made that pretty clear, that would have been pretty obvious that was a pretty dumb comment for anyone to make that you paid for.
I mean, can you imagine buying like 7,000 assholes? Well, I'm pretty sure that's the starting ingredient for when they make sausages. So anyway.
Yes, it is. You just need the lips after that.
Yep.
All right, so check all those out. Get into them all and enjoy your footy on the weekend, people. And we'll do a live broadcast for one of the games. We haven't really decided yet, have we?
No, we haven't. We'll let you know as soon as we know what we're going to do. We've tossed around, I think, all 4 of the games so far, so it'll be interesting. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. And I guess until then, as they say in the classics, gamble responsibly.
And we'll see you later.